He is an extremely capable fighter who can hold his own with kaiju number 10. While we do see at times that he has trouble with larger kaiju, mostly due to his skill set not being ideal to fight them, he absolutely beasts when it comes to mid-sized kaiju and smaller kaiju. Whenever those eyes of his they open up, there's no fancy magical eye powers. He's merely just following that rule that we see in an anime. Whenever a character has their eyes closed all the time and they suddenly open them up, they're probably super overpowered, and make no mistake, he is incredibly strong. Just in hand-to-hand combat, it was said that his skill was enough to rival Gen Narumi. However, as you probably grasp by now, he's most deadliest when he uses a sword because of his lineage and his talent with the sword. It is above prodigy level to a point he really needs his own classification. In short, he is him. However, because of the way that combat has evolved over the years, with close range combat falling out of favor, particularly with swordsmanship, because who needs a sword to take out a kaiju when you got these big long rifles and super powerful missiles to shoot off that do more damage than any sword thing we swung by a master could ever do? Some, like his brother, they embrace this change. With his older brother, who was already a prodigy with a blade, he became a master marksman with a rifle. Soshiro, however, for the most part, is an example of what happens when you have a strong conviction. We still see him using swords in combat, despite it being viewed as unconventional. Some might even say that it is useless. When others tried to talk him out of pursuing that path to power for the above mentioned reasons, Soshiro just doubled down on it and he continued to train to reach his potential. Whereas others called it impossible, like trying to put a square peg into a round hole, Soshiro never abandoned his chosen journey and eventually made it to the rank that he has and acknowledgement as one of the most skilled members of the defense force. His skill with a blade is not to be looked down upon because we've seen him use his invisible blade strikes where he's able to cut things just off of the shockwaves themselves from his slashes. When he uses his numbers weapon 10 suit, his stats actually take a bit of a decrease early on by dampening because his kaiju weapon is the first to have its own mind. However, not all is lost. When he does reach synchronization, he's able to overpower minor kaiju with the potential to use his numbers weapon to the fullest. We see in the battle with kaiju number 12 that at first he was a bit overwhelmed, which made sense given that kaiju number 12 is the final version of kaiju number 10, which that's the suit that his numbers weapon's made from. But when he uses his secret weapon, he's able to make up for a vast difference in speed and power, and he's able to get the upper hand on number 12 for a pretty decent amount of time before the tide of battle begins to turn, and eventually after a hard fought battle, he's able to bring down kaiju number 12.